Here, only one thing to do. Fucking hit it, fellas.
Take my medicine. 24 years in the gutter again. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Oh, everyone's acting like they're all alright, but I can barely get myself to sleep at night. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Take these pills, sick of being okay against my will. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Ain't a thing in this world that I'm gonna miss. It's all fake smiles and leather jackets. We're full of it. We're full of shit. Well, I don't know who to trust. I got hooked on oxycodone. They shut the lights off. They took my car in. I bought a sawed-off shotgun. Yeah, taxman, lost my job and got hooked on oxycodone. Shut the lights off. They took the car in. I bought a sawed-off shotgun. Well, I'm losing it.
Sometimes when you get together on a Thursday night in a Dutch hall, you just put on a great tune and you start the goddamn show. There's only one way to do it, Michael.
How's that, Peter?
It's with a little thing we call the theme song. Canada's only late-night talk show and the greatest podcast ever to come out of a pool shed in Pine Grove, Ontario.
No question about that.
Bar none, I say. And you know why we are that way, people? We are that way because we have the greatest band in Canadian late-night history. The Nocturnal Emissions, everyone. Oh, you can hear them cheering at home. It's delightful. Comprised this week of the Nocturnal Emissions. They come in no other form than Michael Bowe on guitar and vocals, everyone.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Beside him, we have the man that writes the music for the show. He's off full electric this week. He's Mr. Cockhead himself. Dave the Rooster Charters is here. And sitting in the corner today, waving at Willie, playing a wicked lead. That man there, Steve, the reluctant German, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Willie.
And taking his rightful place is the balls of the Nocturnal Emission. He's my personal favorite. Michael, I'm sorry, you're number 2 again. Whiskey West Haggins is here.
It's a good-looking Dutchman.
And as per CRTC rules, we have one dirty French who we need to allow on every show in Canada. That's the rules here. And so this is why we've got this man right here, tickling the drumsticks. He's the French tickler, Capellange. Hey, Kevin.
Hello.
And our guests today, 2 great comics that I've had the pleasure of watching and enjoying them perform over the years. One is a longtime friend of the show. One is a new friend, first time in. Everybody, it's Tige Wright and Jeff Leeson. Everyone, let's hear it for them.
Thank you.
And our studio audience has an old friend of the show. You might remember him from Meet a Muslim. I don't know if he's on camera or not, but he's right beside me there. That's Anna right there. That's Anna.
My boy.
Yeah, he's back again.
Now introducing the host of Live from the Dutch Hall, two-time President's Club Award winner, Pete Van Dyke.
Oh, yes.
Hey.
Feels good every time. Every week it feels better, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel a little bit better?
Better and better every week.
You liked it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to do another song at the beginning. We're going to do Some Kind of Wonderful. And I saw the way you guys played it. I'd say it was good. It was because it was for Swazies. We're going to Swazies tomorrow night. If people are listening on the Friday morning crowd, they're listening to this program. These are our loyal listeners. These are our diamonds.
Yeah. Yep.
These are the ones that, there's fair weather friends of the program.
How was your coffee?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. But then there's these other guys on Friday mornings. These are our diamonds.
That's right.
These are our cheese ladies.
They're getting ready for an afternoon nap so they can enjoy an all-night party at Swazies.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the people that are listening to our program tomorrow, Dave.
Me too.
come
I
on,
know.
Dave.
They're going to listen to the program. They are listening right now.
Then a nap.
And they're thinking about a nice nap in the afternoon to get ready for a long night.
Oh, so you believe that their day consists of waking up, listening to our show, taking a nap, and then
right.
coming to Swazies?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds
To hear us
right.
live
Yeah.
and
That's what they do, the diehards.
I think that's a narrow market that Dave's going towards. Don't you think? The people that can afford that. I think most of them are going to work tomorrow.
Ah,
And they're going to be listening at work, And then they're going to...
hiding in some corner.
Yeah. I know this is a little bit preemptive, like it's getting ahead of ourselves because it's usually a feedback. It's usually a feedback thing. Sorry, I said it twice. You missed them both.
Use your power wisely.
Yeah, no, I used my power unwisely there. Yes, I'm sorry. But there was a story I heard on Thursday. It was too good to pass up. We were at Poacher's Arms. Tige was on the show.
Hey,
Tige Wright was on the show. He was headlining that night, and
was I?
he was the last one to go up. And anyways, Tige headlined that night, and he went up, and I remember. Oh shoot, I got totally lost.
Tige got Poacher's Arms.
Poacher's. Oh yes, there was a girl was talking to my wife. She said that there's a bunch of people in Tillsonburg who are working at Cargill.
Oh.
Oh.
They're working at Cargill in Tilsonburg.
Fertilizer?
What up, Cargill?
And they were listening to our program, and they got in trouble with their bosses.
Perfect.
And now they've been forced to start a secret society at Cargill of Dutch Hall listeners.
Like the stone cutters.
Pretty sweet.
That is pretty cool, right? That we have apparently a secret society of Dutch Hall listeners that are doing it against the wills of their employers. You know, I think it's just terrific.
They
you
gotta
know?
pass the episodes around on floppy disk.
Yeah, yeah. We just whisper, "Hey, did you hear about Chargers?" Turns out he's got a real fat neck. Hey? That's what, they don't like that at work. They don't want us talking about that shit, right?
Yeah.
Mafia.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Cargill, the people that are listening, we love you. The people that are giving them trouble, go fuck
You're
yourselves.
fucking right.
Yeah?
Right in the ear.
Right in the ear balls.
That's awesome of them to come out to the show.
Jane, can I tell the boys the line I used on you today? Can I really? It's so rude. It's so rude. Okay. So this is the story. Can I tell you, Jeff? This is you married?
No.
You're not married?
No.
Girlfriend?
Yeah.
Long time?
No.
New girlfriend?
Semi, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
how long?
Almost a year.
Oh,
Almost a year.
that's
That's still pretty good. That's still pretty newish.
a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
action
newish.
happening.
Yeah,
in there.
that's not. You're not getting into like you're not tired of it yet.
No, God, no.
It's really good for
No.
you, right?
And it's a long distance thing, so like
Oh.
when you get together, it's
Hot
like
and
awesome.
heavy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a good description of it.
Yeah.
And she's fun.
And an
She's
That's
awesome
healthy.
riff
She's a fun
for it.
girl.
It's healthy.
And you can melt down when she's not there. Like you can like show the
Yeah.
real Jeff Leeson, but when she's not around, and
Yeah,
then
I-
like when she comes around, you're like got it all together.
Yeah,
pulled it together.
exactly.
Yeah.
I beat the shit out of kids like when she's gone.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Just murder children.
not murder.
No,
not
no, no, no,
murder.
no. I was using
Let's
it metaphorically.
Take it easy.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, but I really beat the shit out of them. Like I mean, we're
like shit comes out of them.
Oh yeah, for sure, but not murder.
No,
I wanna
no,
be
no, that
clear
was-
on the fact that it's not a murder. But yeah, but then when we get together, I'm like, I love kids. You know?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
You didn't
I
tell
get
them
it.
the best part about your girlfriend, though.
What's the best part?
Vagina?
She drinks like me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's better than vagina?
I don't get any of the vagina. I just get the part where
Oh, the best part of his
He-
girlfriend to you is the fact she drinks with you.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
the best part.
Me,
The best
me
part to
and
Jeff
his
is something
wife-
different.
Everybody,
Way different.
everybody else is out, and it's just her and I slamming back whiskey. It's the
Yeah.
best.
Oh yeah, that is always a good thing. My wife's got a bit of a pickled liver herself. I always know that because of how many wine bags I take back to the liquor store.
Bags.
Oh yeah, wine bags.
bags.
They come in a
You're
box.
doing well.
You ever make your own wine and ask them if they can get you a bladder? You ever do that?
To fill bladders with
You
your
can get-
own.
You can get.
You can make your own box
a-
wine.
like a whole batch in 2 bladders.
What?
Yeah, you got to step up your game. If you're not bagging your own wine,
You got to
They're
start
bagging.
getting bagging
Why would-
business.
No, I got bottles in the basement and a nice.
so do we. It just seemed nicer to have them nice. She didn't feel like such a piece of shit.
Yeah,
if she wasn't
I can
going-
see the way my wife's looking at you now. There's light bulbs popping up over her head all over the place. She's like, I can fill my own bags with hooch.
You don't feel
Oh,
so
yeah.
bad because you're. Oh, I finished a bottle tonight. You're like, that bag's still almost full. Like, you feel way better.
Yeah.
It's a
What
good
was
way
I,
of
I
looking
was
at it.
saying how I wanted to tell you my line on my wife, right?
Right.
This is 20 years married line on your wife, right? So like my wife's coming home from work, she's wearing this dress, and it's like a red and black. Is it red and black or red and white? Red and white. Yeah. It was sexy though. It was a really sexy dress. She comes home with this sexy dress on, and she's at the island in the kitchen, and she's like has to lift her dress and like move her underpants, you know, like
Right.
like she had it adjusted or something.
Yeah.
But she's in our house, so it's just the two of us. And this is the worst line ever. That's why I regret even starting this, but I'm gonna have to finish it. So I go to her.
Was that the line?
No, the
Seemed
line
like a
was
pretty good line.
she goes. I go, whoa, that's really sexy because she lifted up her dress.
Where's the wall pedal, Steve?
And then she goes, she goes, oh, I bet you would like to be behind me. And then I said, I'd bury my face right in your period hole.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Which took the wind out of the sails in the room a bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it didn't work. It was a dud.
Took the wind out of these sails in this room too, a little bit.
Yeah. Period hole. Are you writing that down, Michael, for a title? Give me a title of a program. You know, Porno and Fisting are German was a title of our program. took off like wildfire. One of the greatest.
That's because Chris Pick's fucked up.
He's great to have on the show though. He tells us some of the greatest stories. But that's that episode I think was the title that got it. All international listeners, porno and fisting are German.
Mostly Italy, right?
It's been proven.
No, Turkey. It was Turkey. Turkey became all of a sudden my number one market outside of Canada for like a 2-month period, all because of that one episode, porno and fisting are German. Ada, I know you can't talk on microphone. I'm gonna see if I can get you on here. But Ada,
Lean in.
I'm gonna get on there. Can you
Turkey's
give me a
one
little
of the
slack?
coolest
Oh
Muslims.
yeah, I got it.
Not much. Careful.
Hey Ada, so like I gotta ask you,
There you go. You're good.
because you're from Turkey, right? Is there any like what do you think of the Germans? The Germans in Turkey.
Germans because we got 5-6 million Turks in Germany. So they must love us up there.
The Turks, but so you must like the Germans too, because you're going to live there. Your people are going to live there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you no problems with the Germans, right?
No problem.
So I can't understand the curiosity of why so many Turkish people would listen to porno and fisting or German. Is there like an affection for fisting in Turkey?
No, it's just affection overall for porn.
Oh, porno is the.
Well, back in the 80s, 90s, we used to have movie theaters. And then, like in that movie theater, bunch of adult men would go into a theater and watch 3 movies in the same time. Porn after porn after porn.
3 porno movies?
Yeah, and
Talk
it
about a
was,
matinee.
like just adult males sitting in the movie theater
A
watching
mantinee.
Oh, really? And this is like how long? Like what year would that be?
porn. Well, like mid 80s to
That poor
mid
janitor.
90s, probably.
Mid 80s to mid 90s, you would just be in Turkey and just sit and watch like 3 pornos in a row with your friends.
In the theater.
In a theater.
Very much, yeah.
That's amazing.
That is amazing,
That's
right?
We
amazing.
would skip school for that.
Yeah, no shit you would.
Yeah.
Like, would you do anything or just watch it and then save it for information when you get home?
Oh yeah, whatever you could do, like whatever you could get away with, very much.
Like, you might rub it in your jeans and just,
Exactly,
yeah. And then when you get home and your mom just doesn't ask questions.
Not really.
She just does the laundry.
She just says put your clothes in the laundry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know why your jeans walk themselves into the washing machine.
Starchy. Turkey is easily the coolest Muslim country in the world.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Do you think that's true?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What about Thailand? Isn't that Muslim? No. Which is the one that's all
It's
That's Buddhist.
Malaysia.
Bangladesh, probably, but it's all mixed there. Like in Turkey, it's mostly Turkish people and mostly Muslim people, right? But Malaysia or Bangladesh, it's more mixed. So you got Hindus, Buddhists, and a whole bunch of people, right? It's a lot more different.
How does he have 2 mics on him and you can barely hear them?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, the one's up
He's
to
the
not
most
not
mic'd
working.
guy
I
here.
can hear him
Crank
great.
that
Yeah.
mic.
Greatest
That's
story
all.
ever.
I know he's got such great stories that we can't hear, but you know what?
That
It
was
turns
amazing.
out they're crazy over there. No, you just missed a great story.
Crazy
The,
Turks.
the other thing,
Yeah.
I think
Make
that's the
him
only-
your guest.
I think that's
He
the
was
only-
Forget
there.
about us. Let's hear more about Turkey.
Yeah,
Jerking off
Turkey's
in the 80s.
isn't it?
Pee Wee Herman got arrested for exactly what you and your friends used to skip school and go do in Turkey in the 80s.
The worst part is we were like 15, 14, and the guy,
Turn up number 4 on that.
we had like 40, 50-year-old men doing the same thing. Right?
Gross.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we
Now
go.
I could hear myself.
Hey, there he is.
And
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Tur- Isn't Turkey
Oh, yeah.
the only Muslim nation to have had a female head of state as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
At first.
Progressive. That's what that is.
First. Sorry.
Yeah.
Did she star in the pornos?
And I mean, obviously, they already have porno theaters there.
They did back in 80s because we didn't have VHS available everywhere, right? So yeah, it was very secretive.
But it was a
Except
theater
for
that
everybody
held
went.
hundreds of people.
Well, you were secretly
Just
walking
you and
into it.
57 of your closest friends.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. Anyone ever watch I watched a porno one time with my friend he lived in St. Catharines at the time, and he was a guy I went to university with. And me and Charters went over to visit him, and we went into his basement, and he's like, "Hey, you guys want any porno?" And we said, we're like looking at him like, "What?" And he's like, "I'm done using it."
Oh.
I got these I got
I'm
a
like,
couple
you-
VHS tapes. I'm done using them.
I'm done using them, yeah. I'm like, ugh. Like, that just sounds gross, you know? And then he's like, they're all black porns. He's got a real black fetish. Like, he's like Portuguese guy, but he's like giving away too much. He's like giving away
Wonder
too much.
who that is.
no one knows who he is.
But anyways, and the funny part was about it. He puts the porno in the tape machine or whatever, right? And then he's like, he's fast forwarding through this black porno, and he keeps going, "Not black enough."
Light skinned.
Yeah, he wanted the blackest person, and then he just was like, eh?
Oh no, we're just looking at coastal black people. We need to get deep.
Yeah, we want,
continental black people.
yeah, we want to
is what
go
we
deep
need.
into the continent. Yeah, that's what he wanted to do. He wants to be able to, so you can't even see him in the movie, you know. And then,
Just eyes, teeth, and jizz. That's
yeah, like it went from like we didn't have to know anything. We didn't have to know that he even watched pornography. You know, like we didn't have to know he watched it. We didn't have to know his kink was black girls. We didn't need to know
He used
that
it.
that he used it. You know, like, there's a whole bunch of things we didn't need to know about that whole scenario. You know,
Oh, but did he think you were his best friend?
well, he's gonna give us his old used porn. He must have thought we were kind of his friends.
Yeah.
You don't just give friends used porn to a stranger, do
Oh,
you?
you just thought he was creepy. That's sad now.
No,
He
he's
is
good. He's a
creepy. He
good friend.
actually is legitimate creepy though. No, he's a good friend. No.
And creepy.
But he is creepy as hell, yeah. Oh, I know stories about him that I can't tell anymore because people are probably gonna know who it is. But they're funny. Hey, when a young guy's horny and he does stupid things, it is hilarious to me. Like, it is the funniest thing ever. Like, because they will do the stupidest thing for pussy, you know? Like, they don't even think straight, eh?
Nope. It controls everything.
Yeah. I love it, you know? Like, some guys will have a different outlook on it. Like, I'm not a dirtbag myself. Jeff,
Yeah. Were you about to ask if I'm a dirtbag?
yeah, I was exactly
Wow.
gonna ask that. You
What
know?
a question.
I was gonna find a different way to ask it. Though, like I was gonna like
That was what the pause was?
no, yeah,
I'm
I
not
was
a
figuring
dirtbag
out a
myself.
different way.
Jeff?
Jeff, are you a dirtbag?
You look like a fucking dirtbag. Are you a dirtbag?
No, I just don't know you well enough. Because actually,
Fair.
because I know Tige fairly well, but
Yeah.
me, I've seen you around a lot because I started in London and
That sounds like a dirtbag right away.
yeah,
Seen
right.
you around a lot. You seem to hang around quite a bit.
Well, like comedy, you know how it goes. You gotta show up in like seedy bars sometimes and just
Yeah.
perform for like people that don't like you even being there.
Of course. Yeah. I
The
did that
glor-
yesterday.
Did you really?
Yeah, well,
Jeff
pretty
says-
much every day.
Jeff's outside of a theater with 57 of his closest friends, just hard as a rock.
Definitely booking a flight to Turkey when this one's over, for sure. 100%. I need to relax. But no, I'm not a dirtbag. Sorry, back to your question. Not
Yeah.
a dirtbag.
You're not though. Not
No.
a ladies' man. Never gone through a ladies' man period in your life.
Oh, is that the same? Is
No,
that a
no, I
dirtbag?
don't mean that. Like, I don't know, because I'm the wrong guy. Because even for me asking the question,
Right.
I'm such a like I have no experience with women and whatever. Like my wife and me have been going out since we've been kids, and that's it.
yeah.
Like I have nothing,
Shit.
right? So like for me, a person has had sex
Like
with like
kids,
four.
like children?
We were 16.
Oh, fuck. Wow, really?
Yeah.
So no. Wow.
Yeah. Only girl I've ever.
That's fucking. Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I wish she wasn't
His
here
head
right now
just
because I have
exploded.
like 100 questions for you.
No,
that's
ask her. She
probably
doesn't care.
uncomfortable.
I said
not
period
her.
hole. I put my face in her period
Yeah,
hole.
I
Remember
guess.
that? That's gross.
That's so crazy.
And she's
16?
like a respected person in our community too.
Goddamn
It's
right.
crazy that she would let me say that
Jeff's not.
on air, right?
Jeff's not a.
It's
dirtbag.
crazy, Dave. Right? You're worried about it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Dave has a real job, so he worries about everything we say on the
Oh,
show.
that's fair.
Jeff's
Ask
not-
him if he's a dirtbag. Then.
Right on,
Is he a
Cargill.
dirtbag? He's not a dirtbag.
Dave is a huge dirtbag at his core,
Yeah.
but like his character on our show is this piece of garbage that will just always pretend that he's like Mr. Politically Correct.
Okay.
But it's totally not Charters. Charters would absolutely date rape a million people against their will. You were,
against the. I like
yeah. There's no.
I love
you
his
were,
Wait a
reaction.
minute.
that consensual rape.
Yeah.
yeah, not consensually
Do
date
you
rape.
mind if I date rape you, miss? Oh no, go ahead.
Please do. No, I'm sorry, Charters. Was that too far? Normally, wait till you don't show up to make a rumor up about
I
you.
missed what you said.
Oh, the date raping thing.
I missed what you said.
I did that one about you one time. You got in trouble, right?
Yeah, I didn't like it very much.
Your fiance got super mad at me too.
She stuck up for me. That's
Yeah, I had to face the wrath of his fiance.
What was the rumor? What was the rumor?
that he was
started?
that he was
Don't
like.
say it again.
Well, I don't want to say it again
Yeah.
because then they're saying it twice about him. But it was that he did bad things. Like he wasn't a gentleman, is what I said, which is untrue.
Yeah, that's
It is untrue.
It is
horrible.
untrue. He is a gentleman.
I see why you got
But I said
such
it in-
flack.
I said it in a different fashion
My
than that.
God.
I said it in a different fashion. I said
Yeah.
a different way than that.
This
For
is what
sure.
happens when you miss it.
Of course you
If
did.
you don't come.
If he did, but he didn't show up to the show. That's the part that everyone's missing here. Like,
Oh, he wasn't even here.
yeah, I
so it's
ruined
To
his
defend
reputation.
himself.
it's his own
immediately.
fault, really.
No. He didn't show up, so like we're allowed to ruin his reputation. I thought that was an
You expect it.
an unwritten rule on the show. You don't show up, and then we can like try to besmirch you.
I thought he was joking with how offended he was at it. I heard the episode, and then I heard the episode after where he was like, "Meh, I don't like that part."
Not joking.
And that's exactly how it sounded.
No. It was a real deal. I had to actually, like, it was a serious moment where he's like, fucking, that was offside. You shouldn't have said it. And, like, Kelly's mad at you.
They had to have a meeting.
And I'm like, oh, my. Like, I really had to deal with it because I said something bad. But I forget how I exactly put it, but it was inappropriate.
Yeah, let's not touch on it again.
But I thought it was funny.
I'm
at
just
the time.
curious. Was it worse than what you said about
No,
that guy?
I don't think
About
so.
those
No,
exact
it wasn't.
things?
It wasn't.
Okay.
And he's and
Because
he,
he handled that pretty well, but I mean that's because he's here.
no, Charters is just really good at handling that.
The other
okay.
The other one was more
I'm not.
believable. That's
You know what he did?
Oh, okay. Oh, that's way
Yeah.
different. That's way different.
That's
A
a
way
great
different
point.
reaction.
That's a great point. Because if I suggested Charters would even be allowed within like arm's reach of a woman.
Going back to Jeff being a dirtbag,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'd say he's not a dirtbag to women, but we did a show one time somewhere. I'm not going to say where it was.
Yeah, don't give that away.
We were staying at a place, and I had to text you. I had to send you a text message because of how it was going with you and another lady.
He's gonna swing at him.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you want to tell them what the text message was that I sent you?
Oh fuck.
We were staying in different rooms.
I
Can I
forget
say
what.
it? I
Yeah, I
said-
forget what you said though.
In the he didn't. His phone was out beside me, so I knew I didn't realize he wouldn't get it. I was hoping it was near where they were. And it was just, for goodness sakes, Jeff, she's a lady.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
You were respectful to her, I'm assuming, but wow, that was.
She enjoyed her time.
It was a comedy pussy. You know, I got a comedy pussy.
Pussy.
I got comedy pussy only one time in my life, and I'm happy to share my story. I think I've said it on the show before. I went to that Narcotics Anonymous gig, and all those girls said they were gonna bang. They wanted to bang me, right? Like, or they didn't say it. Well, one did, and the other one said she wanted to go to swim in a hotel pool, and the rest of them just said like, "Are you staying in the hotel?" Well, you know what that means, right? And then I told my wife the story when I got home, and whatever I said to her seemed to work. It seemed to have some effect on her. Because normally at 3 o'clock in the morning when I come home, she's not eager to consummate our marriage. But in that situation, we consummated.
What is
I
she?
consummated the fuck out of her. No, I'm just kidding.
Did you get like the hard turnover?
What?
Just like, "Ugh."
Yeah, normally you just
Do they
get the
block
like
you?
pretend you're sleeping. Yeah, like
What's the block move? Just stick her ass
Jane.
out?
Jane's just a fart. She just farts.
Oh, fart. Nice
Yeah.
move.
Nice.
That's a veteran move.
Farts on
That'll do it. That'll do it.
There's Dutch oven, just hold you down.
You're just
Is
like,
that-
fuck, okay.
I get it. I'm not
to
going to do
sleep.
it.
Impressive.
That's a nice move.
Good move.
Well, it's 20 years of marriage. You know, you learn these tricks.
Ins and outs.
You learn these tricks.
Dribs and drabs.
You know what we should do? A little segment on this show that we call Feedback. We got feedback.
We got feedback. Feedback.
Welcome to Feedback. We got feedback, everybody. This week's segment is brought to you by our friends at Amazon. If you go to Live from the Dutch Hall's website, livefromthedutchhall.com, and click on our Amazon banner, you can do all of your shopping to support that evil organization. And instead of giving all the money to that bald fucker who's going to treat his employees badly.
He's so rich.
Yeah. Not you, Steve. Not you.
Okay.
No.
Just making sure.
Yeah. Is his name Steve too, though? Is he? You know what?
Jeff
Jeff.
Bezos.
Oh, Jeff.
What's his
Close.
last name?
Bezos.
Bezos. Yeah,
Bezos.
He's rich.
yeah they're all.
Bezos.
Anyways,
Pay them none and I take the money home.
Yeah, there you go.
you can click on that banner and we'll get some money from you. And then he doesn't get it all, and then we can use it for good instead of evil.
Turn your ad blockers off.
Yeah, please. Thank you, Michael. That's a great thing. And you know what?
Move.
Let's go with Norpac.
The beef people.
Oh, wow.
We have to just give a shout out. We have to give a shout out to Tige Wright right here. Now, Tige,
Wow.
you know my brother Paul Van Dyke. He's a director, bartender, blah blah blah, all those things. The titles we give him that he doesn't do. And Paul did not show up again. He's like the Tige Pokeroo thing happens again. He's never here when Tige's here.
It's been
Oh,
like
yeah.
4 times.
That is fucking weird, eh?
Yeah, I think every time I say there's a comic on the show, Paul thinks that means he doesn't have to show up because comics know how to click the mouse. And then, and so, whereas, so that's why he doesn't show up. But I'm really curious as to why there's not even a text from the guy. But you know what's a real treat when Paul doesn't show up? We have a bartender that actually not only gave you a drink, he took the cap off.
Yep.
Gave us a shot before and gave us
Yeah.
pre-beers.
He's attentive. Is what he is.
And every time I say Norpac,
The beef people.
that happens.
On it.
There is no in between.
It's not even a
No, he's
pause.
not even awake. You don't have to wake him up. Just tell him where he is, and then he goes, "The beef people."
I can see his eyes.
The beef people. Sometimes it's a question.
The beef people. You're like, no, you're supposed to say cunt that time. You know. He's like, oh. Anyways, you know what else I want to say? I want a little shout out to Derek Yarmy.
Hey.
The Army
Derek.
Electric. You know, Derek, you know, he got a much needed break. A little anniversary trip. Went out, saw a bit of the world, you know, and he refreshed himself. And if I am not mistaken, there's a pretty good chance there's some babies inside of his wife's womba.
I'll tell you what happened, Pete. His wife came over to my house the other day. I was working. Came in a nice van.
Well, 800 kids in it.
She was dropping off, I think, kids close, and all of a sudden 10 kids got out of this minivan. I'm like, must be Jill Yarmy, beautiful woman.
10 kids. She's probably had 6 or 7 more since we've started this commercial. That's what he does.
Especially on vacation.
They breed.
So what we have here is we got a Derek Yarmy, probably the most virile guy in the world. You know, his sperm just makes babies. He can't not make babies. And you know what he won't do is pull out because he's no goddamn rookie.
Put it deep.
Smoke more cigarettes than any other human on the planet also.
You know, but he does need to sustain his family. He needs to feed his family. And so he needs your business. But you know what? He's got enough of it, and he doesn't need any more of it. Because what you're doing is you're taking him from his family. What he needs is a work-life balance. He's a work-life balance. He doesn't need to do your bullshit. He's got enough of it. So what you got to do if you have an electrical problem is call someone other than Derek Yarmy from Yarmy Electric. Because he's busy enough, and he doesn't need your fucking problems. Yarmy Electric, we don't get right the first time, we'll get it right the second time. If we don't get it right the second time,
You can go fuck yourself.
yeah, brought to you by Clean Flow and Van Dyke Party Services. You know what, guys? Summer's coming to an end. Kids are going back to school. There's a lot of people with kids out there, and I think if you would like to celebrate your kids going back to school, we should get together with a bunch of your friends, throw a party, and you know what you think? I'm not going to throw a party with a bunch of my friends. My friends are losers. They're
Pear-shaped.
drips. They're like a bunch of duds, you know? You know what you got to do? You got to give me an email at livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com, and we'll send you between 5 and 29 Van Dyke First Cousins in bright yellow jackets, and you are guaranteed to have the time of your life. And all it's going to cost you is $100 of cold hard cash, plus all of our expenses, which I'm not going to lie to you, they're going to be dear. They're going to be dear.
Very dear.
But if you're not 100% satisfied, we'll return that $100. But those expenses have run through our bodies and potentially yours. Van Dyke Party Services,
Don't live your life in regret.
also brought to you by our good friends at Clean Flow.
What up,
Shout out to Clean Flow. If you want to lubricate
Ready.
something, go to Clean Flow.
Lubricates all kinds of holes.
Yes, Dave. Is that what you wrote for Clean Flow this week?
Yeah.
That's an actual commercial. You actually did what they asked you to do a year ago.
Wow. It took you a year to
It
come
took
up
you
with
a
that.
year,
Yeah.
and that's what you did.
I've been working on it. I had a lot of. It was like lubricates lots of holes, lubricates your holes, and then I finally came up with lubricates all kinds of holes. Do you guys like it?
Yeah, that's a winner.
Nailed it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Sounds like Pete just had his whole lubricated.
Wow.
Okay.
Slim Jim plug.
Well, every week we ask our listeners for feedback. Because
For what?
how
For
how-
what? Sorry?
Oh,
What are you
fe-
asking for?
feedback?
Oh.
You want
love
to try it? You
feedback.
want to? Oh, what? Does it feel good? Try
It does,
one more
man.
time.
It's good feedback.
The power.
Power is great, but if I don't like giving it out to everybody, I didn't mind giving it to Jeff right there
I appreciate that.
because he's a good guest, but we've been giving it out willy nilly to everybody.
Hi, Willie.
Mike Boas broke 3 strings. I just want to let everyone know.
3
Mike
strings on this
Bowes-
one show.
Mike Bo's notorious for breaking strings, but I've never seen anything like this. He came in tonight with a guitar with 6 strings,
I have 3.
and now there's 3
are
left on it.
Turning into Bo Diddley.
What the fuck, Mike?
We like C6 Steve, yeah. You can
glad
still
you're
play it,
doing
right?
Ah, fuck. I'll figure it out.
I'm glad you're doing it today.
We ask our listeners every week, and this week is no exception. Laura Collins, you know what I did? I sent out a picture on social media.
Was it your dick?
No, I didn't. I sent it out of a snapping turtle I found on the road that was living by her house. Big snapping turtle, and Laura Collins, listener Laura Collins, former listener of the week.
Yeah.
She sends a message on one of those social media things. She says, "Kind of resembles Charters."
The snapping turtle.
It may be a relative, she said. Yeah, that's what she said, Dave.
Huh.
Same neck.
I didn't think it looked anything like me.
Well, you don't think you look like a fat lizard with a shell on it? You don't think
With
that's
its head retracted into its
yeah.
body? No.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Just give me one of those bitch pops.
So Charters does not look like a turtle.
So Laura Collins thinks she does,
Oh.
and you know what? I agree with her. She might even get listener of the week for that, but not too soon. Let's wait to the end. Great North Landscape says, in true Van Dyke form, only guy who has a famous podcast. That's a little generous, T. It's a little generous, T. But famous podcast can do stand-up and now owns a church. We're not worthy, Brother Pete. Hashtag Fellowship Hall. It's the Dutch Hall, not Fellowship
It's
Hall.
the Dutch Hall.
You know what that is? That's an Italian guy. I know it's an Italian guy. And he's trying to get Fellowship Hall so he can get grouped in with the Dutch Hall so he can feel included, right? Nope. The whole point of the Dutch Hall is to exclude people from other countries.
Yeah, and we haven't had a hall for years. It's time.
Yeah. Right? Anyhow, Fellowship Hall, hashtag higher times. I think that's a hint of something.
Hint, hint.
Hashtag Dutch Choir by hashtag PU. Pew. Pew?
Pew? Pews are in churches?
I don't get that. Anyways, also regarding the church, Sarah Wallace, I don't know if it was Sarah Orley, but it was one of them. And they're both super fans of the show. Shareholders as well, I believe, are they?
They should be.
The reason I keep bringing up shareholders is because when we move to the church, I want to announce it on this segment that shareholders will not have to pay the price of admission to come to a live taping of Live from the Dutch Hall.
Wooey, wowie, wooey.
And so I'm just telling you right
Fan
now,
off.
if you're just some schlub off the street and you want to watch Live from the Dutch Hall, you're going to have to pay some money. Some cake. I'm talking cake, Michael.
It's not free.
Where do people
Yeah.
find out how to become a shareholder?
You give me money. Cake.
I like that it's just an indiscriminate amount of
No,
money.
indiscriminate. Indiscriminate. Not even money. You can give me a bottle of booze. You're a shareholder.
Pepperettes.
Oh, sweet.
Pepperettes. Shareholder. Oh, like a nice cheese tray.
Oh, yeah.
Shareholder.
Guess what, Teresa?
You're in.
Free admission.
Yeah, speaking of Teresa, she's a little lady that gives us feedback almost every week. And she works at the Second Mouse in Delhi. She's the cheese lady, Teresa. Let's check on her.
We're checking on the cheese lady, on the cheese lady, checking on the cheese lady, always on the run. Checking on the cheese lady, on the cheese lady, checking on the cheese lady,
Teresa.
Hello, Teresa. I like to see you sorting your cheese. I pretend I'm watching her now. And now she's like, where is he watching from?
Creepy.
Yes, it is creepier when I know what she's doing right now. She's like doing cheese work in Delhi listening to us. And Teresa, she sends us feedback on Podbean. And this week she says, hashtag listening in Delhi, hashtag small town love, OMG, I love your mom. If she tells Paul blow me, she sounds like my mom. And if I try to shush her in public, she swears like a sailor, or more appropriately, like the guys from the Dutch Hall, LOL. That's her feedback this week. Thank you, Teresa. Teresa, you know what you are? You're the salt of the earth. Terrific. And I can't wait till we come to Delhi because you'll get to come visit us. You get to come in on I think we're going to change to Sunday night. So you think that's a good idea? Sunday nights?
Sunday service.
Sunday night service at a
Just makes
church?
sense.
Just makes sense. That's what we're thinking of. I don't know when we can get it pulled off, but as of Tuesday, we have a church, and then we just have to figure out when we can start doing shows there. So it should be great. And you know what? There's one more guy that's given us feedback since the very beginning. And this week, on iTunes, the Haitian Dwarf is back.
What?
And I'll come up with one. I got it.
I'll give you one. Ready? Hi-ho, it's off to bed we go.
I'll take a stroll in your period hole.
Hi-ho, hi-ho. What Pete said was, I'll take a stroll in your period hole. Just to clear things up.
What did I, was it? Did
That
I
was nice.
stutter?
No, you nailed it.
Oh, yeah. I had to come up with it quick. So, Haitian Dwarf gives us feedback on iTunes. And we're always happy when we hear from him because we worry about the little guy. We worry about him.
Yeah.
And this week he gives us 5 stars. And he entitles this week's segment Dress Code. Dress Code.
Oh, shit. Charter.
Oh, no.
Oh man.
He says, you should adopt a no polyester policy in the new hall. And you know this is referring to, Charters.
No. What?
It was referring to that
I
outfit.
can't come in comfortable. Honestly, I can't just come in comfortable
Okay,
on
you-
a Monday night where I'm like, it's Monday. It's
Is that really
sweatpants
comfortable
Monday.
though? Are sweatpants really comfortable? I can't see basting in your own sweat comfortable
On a hot Monday night.
with real no escape.
You had it wasn't even the pants. Like, you know, he's going to have Charters can wear whatever he wants. Like, even
Yeah.
those airy shorts, they got air going through it. You are a thick Pollock with like sweaty balls. There's nothing's going to change that, you know? You're going to be gross there. But it was the upper body that I was thinking you could control, you know? But it was the polyester jacket zip. There was no shirt underneath it. Like, you could, I'm sure you could feel the stitching of the jacket, you know, against your skin, and it was uncomfortable. There's no way you felt comfortable.
I didn't know if I needed to be ready for some activity, like some sort of action. You know,
Wouldn't
I
you at
was
least
ready.
wear like a muscle shirt underneath that or something? You know, even the real people that would wear that stuff.
Feels nice.
You're like a weirdo, right? Like, he does stuff like this. Do you do it on purpose, or is it just like you just do that every week and then like you just don't think about it and then it ends up just being a curiosity to me, or are you doing it to make me curious?
I don't know. It's a mystery. It's an enigma.
You don't
You'll
even
never
know what
know.
you're doing? You're just not going to tell me.
No, you'll never know.
How have I been friends with this guy for this long? Like, I've been friends with him since we've been 4 years old, and he's a piece of garbage. Like, he doesn't tell me nothing. That doesn't tell me anything, right? Like, how come I keep going back to him?
Because he makes your mind turn.
He does. He's
Primal.
I can't get away from him. I can't quit him.
If
Give me
he
something
told
to
you,
think
if he told you
I
everything
can't
right
quit
off
you,
the
Dave.
hop, you wouldn't have been friends with him this long. Just feeding you little bits of himself over the years.
This is what he's doing? I don't know. I think he's messing with my mind. I think he's diabolical. But I also think he might be crazy himself. Like, I don't know which side we're sitting on here. Like, I don't know if I'm looking at a crazy guy, I'm the sane guy looking at the crazy guy, or if I'm the crazy guy, you know, looking at the sane guy, you know? Like, I don't know which one it
And
is.
that's the way he wants it.
That's what he's done to me. He's mixed me up. He's gotten into my cage. He's rattled my noodle. Anyways, Charters, if anyone out there is listening to this program and they think, hey, I'd like to give them some feedback, the way you do it is you go to livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com, or you can go to Live from the Dutch Hall on Facebook, Dutch Hall on Twitter, Dutch Hall on Instagram and Snapchat and Quora.
Or if you just see us walking around town, just stop and say hi.
Oh, yeah, that
Tell us
happens.
what's on your mind.
That's my favorite kind of feedback. It's called talking.
It's that old chestnut called talking.
Yeah, it's really nice when people do it. Anyways, this is what we've come here for. Is our special guest. I traveled all this way, waited all this time for you guys to practice for your big Swazies gig tomorrow. Jeff Leeson and Tige Wright, everyone.
Yay! Welcome.
Fellas, we're really happy to have you in here. Before we get too far into our conversation, can we please tell the fine people, before they can develop a really strong opinion of you two, where they can see you?
Used to.
Used to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love the
Welcome to
the
Pine
use
Grove.
of use.
Used
there.
to, yeah,
You don't
yeah.
hear that often.
I'm a
Used
hick.
to.
I'm a real authentic hick.
Yeah. If I didn't know it already, that was the clear cut sign.
Yeah, yeah.
Use.
Use guys.
Put an S on.
Use
the end.
guys is?
Use guys is great. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry. What did you want to ask us, guys?
Sorry. No,
What did you want to ask?
what did I want to ask?
Yeah,
You
what,
remember?
what
Did
did
anyone
you
pay
want to
attention?
know? What did you want to know?
They came all this way to be on the show. Oh, plug your gigs.
Oh, plug your gigs, yeah. Before
Oh,
they
wow.
did, before they get it, the listeners
Right
are,
off the bat, eh?
yeah, right off the bat,
Oh,
because
fuck,
if
this
they
is
get
way
to know
different.
you
Yeah.
at the end,
Then they hate us. They don't want to come.
they don't want to come to the show. But now they might not even listen to the interview. They might just listen to the plug, and then they'll listen to your plug, and they won't even get to know you as a.
Right.
And then they'll definitely might have
Because
a
they
chance.
were probably thinking, I wonder where you guys are playing.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Where are you? Where did you grow up, Jeff?
London.
London, Ontario, like in the city of London.
Ontario. Yeah, sorry, that
Okay.
turned into like an interrogation.
No, I just wanted to know if you were like from like Wingham, and you're making
No.
fun of used guys, because you would be guilty of used guys.
Or
for
Wyerton.
sure.
He still is guilty of use, guys.
I'm still not making fun of it.
No,
either.
no, no,
I just
oh,
missed,
yeah.
I missed the use of it.
No, I apologize too. I was just being sensitive. But
Oh, I'm sorry. Wow.
this has really gotten deep
this
all
got
of a sudden.
deep
Yeah.
quick.
Jeff, I love you,
The
man.
guy who said period hole is sensitive. Who would have known? I never would have saw that coming.
Period hole
Yeah.
as a like a
I was burying my
pickup
face in
line,
there to
too.
cry. That's what you didn't know. I was burying my face in her period hole just to have a nice cry.
That's fair.
Pink tears.
Sensitive.
Is it really going to be the title of this episode? Bury my face in her period hole?
I'd bury my face in your period hole. It's either that or Turkey is the coolest Muslim country.
Oh, that might be a good one too. You think I get ratings for that one? Turkey is the.
Go into Turkey to pull it.
This one's about Jeff.
Yeah, it is
Make
about
it
Jeff.
about Jeff.
So, Jeff is an
Jeff's going to Turkey. How about that?
That's a good one.
Jeff's a really interesting character in my comedy career, because I've always think that I'm onto something. Because in comedy, you try to figure out your own path, because like nobody gives it to you.
Right.
You have to kind of come up with your own path. So I always think I have a creative idea or a clever idea or some sort of personal dream of mine. And then I think, oh, this is the most clever way for me to go about pursuing it. And then I somehow stumble upon your work and find out that you've already done it.
Really?
You've already the one time, I swear to God, Jeff, I was trying to create, because we started billing ourselves as Canada's only late night talk show.
Right.
And so then when we were doing that, well, thanks for the drink, Ty. When we were doing that, I said to Steve, Steve, we're going to want to film a new trailer for our channel, and I want to do this pitch, And I had it written out on a piece of paper, and then I stumbled upon your Facebook page, and literally every single thing I had written down, you had already thought of before me. And I honestly thought it was like I was coming up with something, and it totally wasn't. You had already outsmarted me. And then I'm like, darn it. Then I sent you.
Way to go, Jeff.
Yeah.
Then I sent you a message because I'm thinking, okay, Jeff is you're kind of smoother than me, you're like
He shaves more.
no, like Jeff's got like old people would like Jeff. You know, like you're like
Yeah.
you're liked by like a broad swath of like probably decent people.
Sure.
You know?
Not dirtbags.
Yes, where the dirtbags like me.
Right.
Like if you have a ponytail and
Yeah,
like a bad credit, you're gonna love my act. You know?
Right.
You know, but if you are,
I get along with those guys as well.
yeah, that's unfair. I only get along with those guys. You should
And
only
not the
stay
upper
away from my
crust.
fucking people, Jeff.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Those are my people.
I'll
Take your good people and go somewhere with them. No, but I tell dick jokes more, you know, and where you are like you have like what's called range, right? And
yeah, I guess. Well, I guess that I mean that wasn't always the case. But yeah, I guess now I've just
did you start out dick
adapted.
jokey?
No, I started out like Jerry Seinfeld. That was like my hero. So I started out like very clean and very like observational.
Yeah.
And then I switched into like dick
That is-
jokey, very dirty, as well. So I went one way and then the other way, and just kind of tested the waters, and then sort of landed somewhere in the middle, I guess.
Oh man, I wouldn't say it's in the middle. Like for those of you who have never seen Jeff Leeson, if you he travels all over the place, and especially in small towns, you will play any small town, right, Jeff?
Yeah, those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite shows.
No, but you actually
I'm
market
actually-
small town tour. Like we will come to
Totally.
your town, right?
Oh yeah. No, I would actually rather. Not that I don't like big cities. I don't mind them, but I prefer the crowd of a small town. They're just more appreciative of the.
That you're
like-
bringing an event to
Yeah.
their
They're
town.
more appreciative that you're there.
Yeah.
It's, like
They're pumped before
Yeah.
the show.
yeah. It's
To
very
see
much like
Jeff
a
walk
party.
in.
It's like a cool. Yeah, it's like a cool atmosphere to be in because they're all. It's like what they chose to do on like their Saturday or their Friday night. You know.
Yeah, I agree 100% because you can go to the city and they're jaded. They've just got so many
Yeah.
options. They don't care. There's nothing they really get excited
They're
about.
almost like, yeah, we chose this, so you better be good.
Yeah.
You know, which is fair. Like that's a good way to get better because you need to impress those people. But in a small town, they're like, oh, it's so cool that you guys came here and that you
Yeah.
like hung out with us.
Yeah,
that's what I prefer.
Yeah, and see, that's another thing that's exactly going with like my business plan or my fantasy with comedy. You
Yeah.
know, when you create your own kind of like vision of where you think you're going to go with your career. Mine
Yeah.
would be to go to every shitty place in the world where nobody would ever go to, and
Right.
then go there because I think I would find the best people. No
Oh,
matter
for
what,
sure.
no matter
They're the
what
best
country,
shows.
no matter what,
Yeah.
where you are, like.
Yeah.
If you go to like Alaska, it's probably the best place in the States, you know, to go to a show because nobody
For sure.
goes there, you know?
Yeah.
And in those small towns too, there's a good chance that's the only thing going on that night.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Jeff, like the shows that you've done in these towns, it's literally like people go to the Legion as their Friday or Saturday night.
Yeah.
And there's shows that you've done where people are like, oh, there's stuff going on tonight, and they're paying an extra $5 to get in,
Yeah.
and then they're just blown away that, oh man, there's a comedy show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to go to places where they don't have comedy or they just don't have like entertainment all the time is perfect. I love those are my favorite. Those are my favorite towns to go to.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And you and you seem like you get like a looser crowd too most of the time. Most of the time.
Yeah.
Well, that
Sometimes
one show
you
they
get
delivered 2 pizzas during the show.
Yeah.
Bell River.
Yeah. A Legion in Bell River.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, one of the tables got a pizza delivered, and then one of the other tables was like, "Oh shit, you can do that!" And then like later, like 20 minutes later,
It is
another
pretty
one shows up.
genius, yeah.
Oh, it was great. It was fantastic, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think all of us were like, I didn't
was
even know.
rattled by it. I was
Yeah.
like, what the hell is because he came in and the guy looked at me because I was hosting the show, and then when it happened the second time, Jeff was on stage and he's just like, well, I mean, why wouldn't this be like? You could
Right.
tell that had happened. That wasn't the first time that had ever happened to you.
Yeah.
Oh no,
There's no way.
no. Well, maybe first time pizza, but not the first time that somebody's walked in the door and interrupted like a show.
No.
This is the first time where it was a delivery guy. And it wasn't mine. Like that was the first time in my life pizzas come in the door and I didn't order it.
And you didn't get to eat it. Did you get a piece at all?
Yeah, we did. Oh yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
sweet.
They're very
so bad.
nice.
Not so
Both tables that ordered offered us slices
Yeah,
of
see?
pizza. That's the great thing about the
That's
like in a big city. A lot of times, if that ever happened, they'd be like, "Fuck off."
Yeah.
Don't you
Yeah.
don't you
Yeah.
even look at my pizza?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's funny because that's the thing about it is that like even the disruptive audience member in a small town
Yeah.
is there thinks he's supporting you or she's supporting you.
Yeah,
Like,
that's why they do it.
yeah, they're doing it because they think they're helping. They're not doing it to tear down the show, even if they are screwing up the show.
And a lot of times it's like in a small town, there's a star of that town. There's like, the guy or girl that everyone knows.
Yeah.
And they were going to, no matter what, at some point in the night, your paths were going to cross.
Yeah.
And it might as well be while you're on stage so you can get laughs out of it instead of like later at the bar.
Yeah, yeah.
Because sometimes you meet them later and they're like, "Hey, I'm Charlie. I'm the funny guy." And then it's like, we could have done a whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But now you're just bothering me.
It's definitely better when Jeff's on stage when they do it, because when we're all on stage, like a bunch of amateur comics, you're excited that somebody's interacting with you and they're pumped, but you don't know what to do with it because this guy is the town's entertainment. And
Yeah.
what Jeff's been doing comedy for 19 years.
Yeah.
So like you just turn it into a whole thing. It's really impressive to see.
It's unbelievable that you started as being a Seinfeld fan to me because Seinfeld is such a every beat has to be a certain way and he
Right.
knows his act like inside and out, and you are like crowd work is what you're known for, right? Like
Now, yeah.
Yeah, and now
But when I started, I wrote every detail, every beat, exactly like what you
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
like Seinfeld, very, very much like what is, I would write, you know how some guys wrote like a word that would trigger?
yeah.
I would write the entire thing
Entire
down
act,
every
yeah.
time by hand all the time.
Yeah.
And just memorizing it. So it was like learning how to do that, then learning how to write a joke, like learning what the formula is for joke writing, and then taking that and saying, okay, how fast can you do that, and how fast can somebody toss something at you, and then you take it and make like a 2 to 5 minute bit
Yeah.
out of something that someone yells. You
Now,
know?
how much of crowd work is the repetition of human behavior? Like how much does how when you are doing crowd work with the audience, you will get for improv, for example,
Yeah.
you would do the improv guys get a lot of credit for coming up with stuff on the spot, like quote unquote, but they
Right.
really ask a question knowing that there's going to be a most common answer that comes out of the average crowd. And
Right.
if you already know if you ask this question, there's a good chance you're going to get this answer back. Like you say, name a movie genre. Someone's going to say porno, right? So then you just have a porno bit already written
Right.
and then go to it, Is
For
there
sure.
some of that with it, or is it just more that you run into similar situations and then when you get into it again, you know where to go? Or is it more where you just develop that how to stay present in the moment?
So for me, it's all based on curiosity. So when I decide to ask somebody questions, something about them will trigger in my mind that it'll be like a shirt, or the way he or she is sitting, or hair, or a facial expression, or a lot of times like a mustache, something that will be like, I need to know more about this person.
Yeah.
And then it's really about chipping away to find out, like, is there something really interesting about them? What's their most interesting thing? And then taking that most interesting thing and then creating like almost like an on-the-spot bit or character about them. So for you, for example, it would be that you married someone that you met when you were 16. Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
If you were in a crowd, I would latch onto that. I would go through my guess on like how you met,
Yeah.
what the story is, like all that kind of stuff, and I would create all that as just based on 2 or 3 pieces of information. So a lot of times I might ask the same question. That's something I get mad at myself about. I'll be like, oh fuck, you asked the same fucking question 3 times in a row. But It's to just get little pieces of information to plug into a story that I just think of
Yeah.
on the spot.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, and once you kind of get a feel for that technique, and then you can replicate it or whatever, or find the. But it's like there is something more innate to that curiosity, and that's why you're probably drawn to late night talk shows, right? Because that was always like, I mean, for me, I've always loved the genre of a late night talk show.
Right.
Like to me, even as a kid, I loved like Johnny Carson and Dave Letterman, and like those sort of type of shows, and they were always really interesting to me, mostly because they showcase stand-ups. But in Canada, we've just never had anything, that's been that, it's really like filled the, like, we're always known for being a country of comics, and yet we've never really had a late night show that's showcased comedy in Canada.
Yeah.
We all have to go to the States. Even Mike McDonald, when I was talking to him, he's like, no one cares. In the States, they know that we're funny.
Yeah.
We can sometimes get on a show because you're Canadian.
Even Europe. You look at all the Canadian comics that have gone over to Europe, and then if they didn't go, they would go nowhere. And they've gone to Europe, and then they get a platform all of a sudden. People are interested in them because there's something different or something, I guess.
Yeah.
But
there's no showcase here for us, really. Like
but there is,
TV-based.
exactly. There's never been a TV show that's showcased our Canadian talent. We still don't recognize comics as artists in Canada, which is ridiculous because we have the biggest comedy festival in the world, and we showcase other countries' talent without investing in our own. Like other countries invest in their talent, and we showcase what they've invested in, and we don't invest in our own. To me, it doesn't make sense.
And then you get stories about like how like Russell Peters, like he was living in New York, or I don't know where he was living, but he was wasn't he roommates with like Patrice O'Neill or something like that? He had to go to the States to get places, and he's known as this Canadian comic, but he was getting good in the States because it wasn't worth it for him to do it up here.
Yeah, because there's no payoff or whatever.
There's no that platform that you're talking about. There was no way for him to get really known up here. He had to go to the States to get that.
Yeah, but nowadays there's internet and there's everything else. Like, wouldn't that be a great equalizer that you should be able to like find your audience no matter where you go?
Definitely.
Like no matter where you live.
I think that's what happened with Russell Peters. He was early YouTube, like very, very early YouTube days. His Comedy Now special from like CBC or CTV, somebody put it on and chopped it up, and that's what made him explode.
Yeah, that somebody's
all
gonna
over
get
the
hurt.
world, but not in Canada. It was filmed in Canada, and was like semi-seen on whatever TV, but all over the world he was traveling and doing these like theater shows, and would come back to Canada and do a string of clubs or whatever, until finally he was recognized in Canada as like this guy selling out all over the world.
And it's a typical Canadian model where you only recognize your talent once they've made it somewhere else.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Which is
Then it's
insane.
like, oh yeah, they're from here. He's from here.
Yeah.
Right, but
we take credit for them once they've had somebody else showcase them and promote them.
Yeah.
Like how many comics have you met at a show that would have their own Comedy Now set? Like they've been on Comedy Now, and like you're at this mic, like what are you doing here? I'm like, well, it's just when you're coming up in comedy, man, I get that, and then I'm gone.
I have comics. I was telling my wife today. I said I have comics that work in Ontario that I am literally I get nervous around them because I'm so impressed by their gift of the quality of work that they do, like I'm just like, this guy's so talented, and no one gives a shit about them at all, but to me they're like, they're just so talented, like they're just great joke writers and great performers, but nobody knows about that they even exist. It's just it's a great injustice, for what we've done. Because once we export it to another country, then they embrace it. But when it's here in front of you and you are like loyal to your own country, nobody gives a rat's ass. And I think when you're going to host the world's largest comedy festival, you should probably invest, see some value in the art form. Yeah. If you're going to make money off of it, you should probably invest money into it, instead of like...
Well, the good thing is about that is they started doing that homegrown. It was a competition, homegrown.
Yeah.
And now they did a whole series on it, like a special So they are doing more like Canadian talent specifically on Comedy Network.
Yeah.
Just for laughs. But
Yeah, I know, but they've always done that too. Like where you'd get, because Canadians have found it easier to get on Just for Laughs than like an international comic because they have a quota or something of.
Yeah.
But
They have different types of quotas for that even.
But if they were investing, if we had the same grants that music guys had, like if we were allowed to be seen as an art form and not a entertainment, and we could get the same grants music gets or theater gets or whatever, we would have a way better system that would allow us to develop more and showcase more, and like everything, it would just become more important. Like it would just move up the list, and we would see it as being important. And I don't see why, as Canadians, when we're so good at it, because we have this like external perspective on the world that's like kind of like unique, and we're good at comedy. Why the heck wouldn't we as a country invest into it?
We're still a small country population-wise, though. That's the other thing. We're still only 10% of the U.S. Like, we're not a huge population.
No.
So, I mean, that could be it. You could have all of Canada into you, and it's still less than, people that were into Louis C.K. in the States.
Yeah, but even Louis C.K. said, like, he's like, if I have 1 million people that like me, that means in the States there's 324 million people that don't know who I am.
Yeah.
Like you don't really, and it's global. Like, what's the difference does borders make? Like, when you're trying to find your audience, like, you get them no matter where they are. We got Turkey, and no, that is from Canada, but like, I mean, like, Porno and Fisting are German. Those Turks are just loving it over there, and then but what I'm saying is like the world is like one little market now. So like, why did we give a shit about these borders? It's just about like promoting the talent. Like when you see a guy that's really talented and he's in your country, and you know that like you could build your film industry or your you could just build your profile of the quality of art that you're making in your country if you like invested into it. And we're not doing it for comedy. We're doing like even to get a grant to do a movie, you have to be a drama or a documentary. You can't be a comedy. If you're a comedy, you get no money. You can only get money if you're a drama or a documentary. So you have to make a funny documentary.
Or you have to write a drama script, and then when you get the money,
you make a comedy.
You change it into a comedy.
Yeah.
And they've already given you the money, so who gives a fuck?
That's
Boom.
a really smart point, actually.
Huh?
See? That's why I invite people like Jeff in.
We're all millionaires.
That's right.
Wake that guy up and
Thank
tell
you.
him we're all millionaires.
Yeah, that's a great plan. Let's do that. You know what we gotta?
I'm just kidding. It's the hat. Makes me go to sleep.
You know what we should do? We should do one thing before we go. I want to thank you guys for coming in. You want to plug your gigs? We didn't even plug your gigs.
Was that the whole thing?
We got one more segment to do before we go.
That was sick.
You still got to plug the shows.
But we should plug your shows. Plug your shows before we forget.
We're going to Milton on Petrolia on September 8th at the arena.
Petrolia.
Milton on the 14th. Rad Brothers.
Purple Thistle tournament.
Cannington Legion on the 15th of September.
Cannington.
Whoa. Innisfil, September 22nd.
Oh, yes, Innisfil.
Man, you're making me so jealous. These are all great places.
Do you have American listeners?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, we're doing, so Lansing, Michigan, Waterford, Michigan, Cincinnati, Ohio, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Little Current, Ontario, North Bay, Sudbury.
Can they look up your dates on a website?
Most of them are on there. The October ones will be on there soon. We're
What's
doing
the
a huge
website?
JeffLeesonComedy.com.
JeffLeesonComedy.com. Please check him out.
Please.
And if we can twist his arm, we might get him here in Norfolk County soon enough. That's what we really hope
Let's
to.
do it.
Ty, do you have any dates to plug?
I'll be at Ganjanistas in Hamilton tomorrow night. So if you want to smell like a DUI,
I played that club,
Yeah?
and they actually had
Is it
an
good?
audience that was was not a weed audience.
okay, that's good because
Yeah.
I do not do well with weed audiences. I talk too fast.
Oh my God, man! I did like a heady subject at Bramsterdam like a week ago because they needed a guy to fill in because the Toronto guys were late, and I went in and tried this like deep subject matter, and holy, they do not understand anything.
That's rough.
Oh, they hated me.
Like, you want a headline? Yeah, it's a weed room. Shit.
Oh man, they don't understand nothing. They're like making crafts. They're not listening at all. Anyways,
And then most of the plugs I do on your show, anyways, are for Jeff's shows.
oh yeah, that's a good point.
What about you, Pete? You got anything?
Oh, we do have Swazies tomorrow night, and if you don't, and then I also am going to be at the end of September in at Showtime, but it's the last weekend of September, so we'll get to that on future shows. But if you're listening to this later, if it's the last weekend of September, I'm in Showtime in St. Catharines for the whole weekend. Then come and see me there, and then all my other dates are later, I think. But Swazies, yeah.
What is Swazies? Is that a bar?
Oh yeah, it's a bar in Waterford. It's a great bar. It's right in the beside the grocery store there. And then they used to just have a little bar, and now they took over Video Flicks. They got the whole thing.
Oh, sick.
Is Kick-Ass McGee. Have you ever done that show?
No, but I've listened to your podcasts after you've done the show, and they always sound awesome.
Well, Swazies was the bar that.
So thanks for the invitation, Pete.
I'm sorry, Ty. we always, when me and Charles were kids, he grew up in Waterford, and we would always, as soon as we got money, we would start spending it at Swazies to buy booze.
All of
Mostly
it.
Ryan Waters, all of our money, every single penny of it.
$100 every night.
Nice.
We played darts, and so like we were there like a long time, so much so that like I would drink 50 back in those days, and eat Bundy wings, hot Bundy wings. And I remember I went to England to school for 4 months, and then I came back, and I was so excited to go to Swazies and drink some 50 and have a nice hot Bundy wings. And I asked Barb Stone, who was the waitress at the time, I'm like, Barb, can you give me a like a nice cold 50 and a pound of Bundy wings? And Barb says, 50? We haven't sold 50 in months. We stopped stocking it. I'm like, what are you talking
You were the
about?
only guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were only stocking it for me and Charters.
Yeah, it's a
That
nice
was the
deal.
only reason they stocked 50 in the bar. That shows you
Yeah.
how much of trouble we were in there. But anyways, I love
you know
the place.
what else shows that? That you knew your waitress by her first and last name.
Yeah. Barb Stone.
Hey, Barb Stone. How are you?
She's the best. Hey?
He was the best. Oh, yeah.
She was the best.
Yeah. Oh,
She
yeah.
wouldn't even ask you what you want. She would give you what she thinks you wanted, and you would have to take it and eat it. I would be like, Barb, what the fuck is this? I didn't ask for pierogies. You want pierogies.
Could you just walk in the door and say, I'll have a beer, and then sit down, like cheers? Oh, that's wicked.
Seriously,
I've tried
though,
that
like back in the...
every bar, and not once has anybody just given me a beer.
Oh, Blue Elephant in Simcoe.
Yeah?
Same thing. I would never have to order. They would just give me a drink when I sat down. They remember my order.
Oh.
I love it, man. Those are great people. But I don't order the same thing every week, so it's a problem.
Yeah.
So I say thank you, but then I'm like, this week I'm going to do something different because I'm not a fucking predictable clown like you think I am.
I'll have a 50 light.
Yeah, exactly.
Switching it up.
49.
Anyways, I have to do one story before we leave. One story before we leave because it's the most remarkable thing I've ever seen in my whole life, and we haven't talked about it yet, and I have to ask people in this room if they've heard of it. I went to Steve the Reluctant German's house this week. I went to his house. Now, number one, he has a dog. It's what is it, a ship poodle?
It's a labradoodle.
Lucy.
Labradoodle. Lucy, right? Lucy was a brown dog
Yeah,
at one point in time.
with like white feet.
With white feet. This time I show up at Steve's house, the dog is white, completely white.
Yep.
It's obviously gone through some sort of trauma. It's obviously seen something it shouldn't have seen, right? Like something happened to that fucking dog that it's turned white,
Turn white.
and it's wearing a diaper. Yeah, it's wearing a full fucking diaper, right? So I say, what the fuck is going on with your dog? You know, like it's got a diaper on.
Was the diaper also white?
Yes.
White.
Okay, so fit in.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's still, you see it. You can still see it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Fucking
It's
diaper.
it's unnerving.
But the
Yeah,
white
yeah.
diaper probably made the dog
And the
feel
dog
better.
is the dog's
Yeah.
hyper, right? It's
little
like
bit.
it's a little excited,
She's
and it
calming
wants
down.
to put its ass on me all the time. Like, I don't like. It's very touchy. It licks my feet. It does things that are. Like, I'm
Is it a
uncomfortable.
female?
Female,
Yes.
yeah, female.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, you'll find out why it's wearing a diaper. It's
I
clear that
already
it's a
know why it's wearing
female. Do you have a female dog ever?
No, but I know that female things have period holes, Pete.
Yes.
Yeah, but I didn't know this. I even had dogs on my farm that gave birth to litters of puppies, and they didn't have periods. I never remember a dog having a period ever. But it turns out it's not a period, Tige. It's not a period. Steve told me it's not a
not in my
period.
house.
Oh boy.
It's a moon cycle. It's a moon cycle.
What?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a moon
that's right.
What do you
cycle.
light sage in your house and all that bullshit?
I've
too?
got 4 daughters. My youngest is 5, so it's a moon cycle.
Okay.
What do you mean? Period is too strong a word for him?
I just don't want to get into it.
She's learning about sentence structure.
Well, they're gonna have periods too. All of your daughters will.
Yeah, that's the
Sentence.
It's the horrible truth.
The red wedding.
yes.
You
Oh,
don't,
yuck.
man. I've never seen my. You don't understand. Like when I saw my daughters, the reaction to their periods, it broke my heart so bad. I understood for all women out there how much they hate it. You know, when women get mad when they have PMS, it's because it reminds them that they have to fucking do this every month, and they make them so mad. You know, like I didn't understand that till my daughter had her first one, and then she's like, "How often does this have to happen?" We're like, "Every month," and she's like, "Every month." And, like she was so mad, yeah. Like, and I was like, oh, I know it would really suck to find that out, wouldn't it? Like, I never thought of it that way before.
If she's lucky, she'll have really bad acne, and then you can put her on Diane, and that'll the periods will go away, so her acne gets better.
The barbecue sauce? Or the Diana's?
No, just put her on some barbecue sauce, and it'll clear right up.
You said put her on Diane.
Diane 35 or something like that. It's a skin. It's for both.
It's a pill.
Yeah, it's a birth control pill, but it also clears up.
You
so
do
be
understand?
careful.
People didn't know it was a birth control pill. People just think there's some lady named Diane.
You just get Diane to come in, and she'll just
Yeah.
she'll spay
Just
your
put your daughter on Diane, and all of a sudden it all clears up. She just clots up and then goes away. We should end on clots up. I think.
Sure.
That's like a nice
Everybody, thank you very much for listening live from the Dutch Hall. I've been your host, Pete Van Dyke. Thank you to Jeff Leeson and Tige Wright for coming in and being our guests. Thank you to the Nocturnal Emissions for being the greatest band in Canadian late night history. If you'd like to come see us in Swazies and Waterford, come tomorrow night. Otherwise, we will see you, NT. See you next Thursday.
All right.
2, 3.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry it's so late.
Easy there.